Gratitude. Today's our gratitude day. Of course, every day is gratitude day, but particularly, and so nice to have some of the teachers here who have been so supportive of Sweetwater Zen Center. YU, who's been so supportive of me from the beginning, just about. We practiced together at CCLA and at Mountain Center. And Shinzan, who's so supportive of us, stayed with us, kind of our sister or cousin, I don't know, Sangha, our cousin Sangha. And then Dharma Joy, who I'm just starting to get to know. And I don't know, he's about to be abbot of the Mother Temple, and he still has time to come down and show us how to do service. That's amazing. Just so appreciate seeing all of you today. I don't know if this fits or anything, but it's what I've been thinking about. Look, I got a new iPad. I've never had Apple before. Oh, now see, it's missing. There it is. So I read this book. It's this guy, Haruki Murakami. I think you all know. He's like the greatest living novelist, I think. I love his novels. And this one is called Colorless Tsukuru Tasaki and His Years of Pilgrimage. Colorless. It's just such an amazing book. I'm not sure. I looked up Murakami. I'm not sure if he's Buddhist, but his books sure seem Buddhist. Like even to call someone colorless, like he thinks that's a bad thing. But that's what the Bodhisattva, the awakened person, is colorless. It's just here. So there are a few things I underlined in this book, and one is pain is what gives rise to meditation. And now I wonder, thinking about it, I wonder what the Japanese word was for meditation. If he said pain gives rise to zazen or meditation, and I don't know. But Shishin Roshi, who is a dear friend of mine, really a brother, has a book coming out on the 5 ranks, which Cho and I got to look at it before it comes out. And one thing Shishin said, which I found really wild, was the Bodhi mind is pain. So the Bodhi mind, we do that in the Gate of Sweet Nectar. We do the chanting and we say, now the Bodhi mind is raised. The Bodhi mind is the desire to practice. So like, and I think some scientists even think that our minds are evolving. But anyway, we have the desire to eat and to breathe and to drink water, to live, to have sex, to live. We have those desires. And this is like one of those desires, the desire to wake up to what? To true self, to the oneness of all things, to the nature of life, to wake up. So, like all of you, everybody has Bodhi mind. And of course, some religions call it something different than Bodhi mind, but everybody has a spiritual desire. I completely believe that. But some is hard to see. Some people aren't in touch with it, but you obviously are because you're here. You're a little bit in touch with that desire to wake up or to do spiritual practice or see God, talk to God. I really wanted to talk to God when I was little, and I did. It works if you really want to. So pain is Bodhi mind. I mean, I think I would say pain is what calls Bodhi mind. That it's the pain in our life, that the suffering in our life, that we start thinking, what is this? You know, after we've gone through some kind of disappointment, well, I'm going to be happy forever because I have the perfect relationship, because I have the degree, because whatever. And when that disappointment happens, that it doesn't work out, that's the suffering that leads to, well, what is my life? Who am I? So this comes up in this book. Now I'm time restricted, which is a problem because I want to tell you the whole book. But there's this group of teenagers who become best friends, and they become best friends doing volunteer work. Like in their high school, everybody's required to do volunteer, and they all choose the same thing, which is something working with kids, and they become best friends, and they do everything together, and they have a ball. You know, they do volunteering, which feels great. They're helping the world. They have an aspiration to help the world, and they, you know, play. They do sports. They're just best friends, and they're cool too because they're kind of this best friend group. And then most of them stay in town for college, but one goes away to college, and one day he comes back, and because he comes back often to see them because they're this group, this perfect group, perfect harmonious group. And he calls them and no one answers the call. And finally someone says, don't talk to us anymore. We don't want to talk to you anymore. You're not part of the group. And he goes into a incredible depression, terrible depression. The only reason he doesn't suicide is kind of just because he doesn't manage it. And it lasts for years. They never tell him what happened. 10 years, maybe 15 years later, he's working, but he can't, he doesn't have good relationships with men. He doesn't have a best friend, and his relationship with women aren't good. They don't last. So finally, his current girlfriend said, you have to go back and figure out what happened. You have to go back and talk to everybody. And he finds out they're all just people. One of them's a car salesman. One of them runs like a kind of a scam motivational workshop that talks people into doing to be happy with their work, working for corporate Japan. And one is a housewife and living in Finland, and one has suicided and had terrible addiction problems. And it turns out he was expelled because she accused him of rape, which wasn't true. From the group. But anyway, what happens is this perfect harmonious group, when he investigates it, there's lots of difficulties. And to me, the theme, it actually made me think of ZCLA, which I think, why you showed up like in 83 or 84. He showed up right after ZCLA had the disappointment had happened. But before 82, we were just so happy because we had found Zen. We'd found enlightenment, and we were cool and we were young and good looking, and then in 1982 it all fell apart. The shadow arose, and so kind of what he's talking about, I think, is that you, like in their group of 5, they didn't have sexual relations. They were teenagers. And because they worried it would hurt the harmony, which kind of made me think of some monastic rules, or like one way to always be harmonious is just don't get involved in sexual relationships. But they hadn't allowed any of the shadow into their life so they could preserve this harmony, all for the sake of harmony. And this is all leading up to the quote, which I just love. Face ID. Nope, doesn't work. Does not recognize my face. Okay. And in that moment, he was finally able to accept it all. In the deepest recesses of his soul, Sukuru Tasaki understood. One heart is not connected to another through harmony alone. It's very emotional for me. They are instead linked deeply through their wounds, pain linked to pain, fragility to fragility. There is no silence without a cry of grief, no forgiveness without bloodshed, no acceptance without a passage through acute loss. That is what lies at the root of true harmony. And I think that's what we've learned from early ZCLA, that not that we've learned, that we've experienced the suffering of the Sangha, and it continues, that we have wounds. We come because of suffering, maybe. Anyway, we bring our suffering, we bring our wounds, we bring our ailments into the Sangha. And Sangha, I mean the big group, the whole world, really, into our community. And how to work with that, how to do this true harmony kind of stuff that includes the shadow, includes all of our faults, our problems, our selfishness, our unkindness, our hatred, greed, anger, ignorance. How to really accept all of that for the sake of this, for the sake of the Sangha. It's just really powerful for me. And I think the Sangha Sutra now, we're finally getting ready to release ours, which is piggybacking off of CCLA's Sangha Sutra, which is, it's a book, man. Everybody who thinks the Sangha Sutra is going to be a little list of how to be happy in Sangha. It's a, I want to say the F word, book. And with all of these different things you can do, working with trauma and communication, and it keeps growing. We have some more suggestions of what's missing from the Sangha Sutra. So to me, that's what I'm grateful for. You know, we're not in Asia. We're well, and of course, Asia isn't in medieval Japan. We're not medieval Japan. Uh, so, as wonderful as the teachings of our lineage are, um, how that's manifest is going to be different. And it's going to be a struggle. It is a struggle. Uh, and I'm so grateful to everybody who wants to play. And investigate how to live in harmony with our suffering together. And anyway, I recommend that book. I love it. It's so complex. And the deal is, okay, I'll tell you the story. Is I read it, and the way I just talked about it was what I got from it. And I read a bunch of reviews, and they were like, it's a coming of age story. Everybody goes, I don't know. I was just like, this isn't what I heard. And then I went to the New York Times review, and bam, right how I was seeing it with that quote, which is the one I underlined, and written by Patti Smith, who is like my favorite person in the whole world. So I don't know, at least Patti Smith and but I recommend the book. It's so layered. It's so just rich and wonderful. And a little time, I guess I understand there's a free meal today. So I don't want to keep us from that, but there's a little time if anyone has any questions.